Loved to Death opens Season 3 of Tales from the Crypt with a story that will make you fall madly in love with horror again. Directed by Tom Mankiewicz, written by Joe Minion and John Mankiewicz, and shot by Robert Draper. Based on a story from Tales from the Crypt number 25. The show updates the comic with some off-the-wall humor and some premium cable spice. Edward comes home to his perfect house and his perfect wife, with the great news that he's gotten a raise at work. His wife is so turned on by this that she can't help but tear off both their clothes. She just can't resist him. But it turns out this is all a fantasy, or rather, the story in a screenplay Edward is writing. Taking a break from typing, Edward finds that his faucet isn't working. He reports the issue to Mr. Stronum, the mysterious building manager who nobody has ever seen. Down in the laundry room, he sees a beautiful but short-tempered woman on the phone. He can tell she's in the middle of something, so he stays hidden. But he is immediately infatuated with her. On his way back to his apartment, Mr. Stronum offers him some information about his faucet and the woman.
I fixed your faucet.
Already? I would have been gone.
Rent's due tomorrow, kid.
Mr. Strom, there is a beautiful girl who lives in this building.
Miranda Singer, 509.
Miranda.
Happy hunting, kid.
He tries introducing himself to Miranda, but things don't go so well.
What are you doing?
French Lick, Indiana.
Who the hell are you, anyway?
Larry Bird's hometown.
Get out of here! Out, 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 out!
Because I'm from Indiana, too.
Regretting the way she treated him, Miranda invites him over later for a drink.
Hello? Whatever your name is, I'm sorry. Sometimes I let things get to me, you know, this town. Miranda Singer.
Edward Foster. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have been going through mail like that.
Hello? Alex! Hey, why don't you come over later for a drink?
Okay.
Edward feels like such a winner right now that the show can't resist this visual metaphor. It's time for that drink, and Edward is beyond excited. He's all dressed up and even brought flowers. He knocks on Miranda's door to no answer and waits for hours until she finally gets off the elevator with another man. Meanwhile, Mr. Stronum has been watching Edward through the building's security cameras. The next day, Miranda finally invites him over for that drink. She figures out what he wants, but things do not work out for him.
You want to go out with me, don't you?
Very much, yes, I do.
Look, you're a really nice guy, and I want to be as honest as possible here. You can't do anything for me, and I can't do anything for you. I'm sure you're going to be rich and famous one day, and on that day we have a date. 8 o'clock. I'll cook for you. Here's your persistence in getting what you want. You can find your way out.
And things get worse when Edward gets lost in his own fantasy.
Oh, how did you know? Fucking mind reader. Oh. You dipshit little Midwest weasel!
This brings us to the start of the comic, when Edward has just confessed his love for Margaret, but she doesn't feel the same way. Edward isn't taking it well. After being kicked out by Margaret, Edward wanders the streets. He makes his way to a lonely park bench where he is joined by a mysterious stranger. Venting his lovesick frustrations to his benchmate, the man gives him the business card of an alchemist and disappears into the night. Edward seeks out the address in the card, which brings him to a sketchy part of town. When dropping off the rent to Mr. Stronum, the unseen manager's door creeps open. Edward invites himself in and finds the now revealed Stronum, who has something for the young man. Spoiler alert, it's a love potion. Back in the book, Ulrich, the old alchemist, listens to Edward's predicament. Edward is offered a love potion that will make Margaret fall madly in love with him, and only him. And the potion is cheap too, only $1. Edward is on his way out when the old man warns that he will soon return for the antidote. Edward doesn't think so. Edward arrives at Miranda's with some apology wine. She doesn't want him there, but humors him just to get it all over with. When she's out of the room, he pours the entire love potion into her glass. The comics Edward goes to Margaret's place to inform her that he's leaving town for good. She couldn't be happier. He asks if she will have a drink of wine with him to send him off. Willing to do anything to get rid of him, she agrees. Unbeknownst to her, Edward slips all of the love potion into her wine. She drinks everything Edward gives her and then tells him to leave. Thinking the potion didn't work, Edward heads to the door, only to be stopped by Margaret. She gives him a kiss goodbye, followed by a kiss that says, "Hello." Miranda downs her drink like it's nothing. And when Edward won't leave, she calls the cops. And then fantasy suddenly becomes reality.
Yes, there's a man in my apartment and he won't get out. He won't get out. He won't get out. He won't get out of his clothes.
Margaret is madly in love with Edward. The two get married, and he is all she talks about now. Edward is finally tired of Margaret. He's off to see Ulrich, who offers him the antidote, which will kill her quickly and without leaving a trace. Edward never intended to kill Margaret, but Ulrich says it's this or go back to her undying love. Edward can be free for the not-so-cheap price of $1,000. Talk about some markup. Edward reluctantly accepts. Margaret was a 1950s squeaky clean. But Miranda is an HBO-level sex fiend. Let's just say Edward can't keep up.
What do you think, my darling?
What do I think? I think I'm exhausted. To use words I never thought would cross these lips. Miranda, I'm fucked out.
The spirit is willing, but the flesh is spongy and bruised.
Things escalate to the point where Edward actually hits Miranda in order to escape from her. But that doesn't deter her love for him. Edward goes back to Stronum, who gives him the bad news that there is no cure for what's been done. The only way out is death. Edward refuses, but Stronum knows better. Edward returns home to an excited Miranda, who has helped him write his screenplay. She even has champagne to celebrate. He sneaks the death potion into her glass, but as he gazes upon her writing, she switches the glasses, not wanting him to drink out of a dirty glass. And sure enough, he dies instantly. In the comic, as Margaret fixes Edward his breakfast, he slips the antidote into her coffee. He leaves the room, not wanting to watch her die. Knowing her man likes his coffee hot, she switches their cups, as hers is fresher. Edward eventually returns to the room for the coffee, and as in the show, he dies immediately. We are given a glimpse into the afterlife, where Edward isn't too broken up about dying. He's finally free from Miranda and Margaret, until he hears her voice. Unable to continue life without her beloved, she killed herself. Now, she and Edward can be together for eternity.
I was so upset I threw myself out the window. Now we'll be together, my love! Forever!
Loved to Death is a fun way to start the season. Edward is a creep in both versions, so we don't feel too bad for him in the end. He's more aggressive in the comic, while more of a doormat in the show. The episode has more humor and less restrictions, but I think it falters with the potions. Ulrich hinting to Edward that he'll need the antidote sets the stage for things to go wrong, while the show just lets it happen. But the show definitely takes things to the extreme. Edward should have been careful what he wished for, and if you're not careful, this episode just may be the start of your next Tales from the Crypt binge.